always fresh every day. You're watching Fastlane Daily.
Ferrari teams up with an Italian tuning house to bring a new hot hatch. Not a cold one, it's hot. But is it just a branding and marketing exercise, or is there something actually worth looking under the hood? We'll let you know. Also, Carlson tweaks the E63 AMG. An idiot gets arrested for throwing a blank from a moving car. Find out what that is. And exotic ricers? All that plus Shakedown with Leo Parente. What's up, everybody? I'm Derek D. You're checking out Fastlane Daily on a Thursday, day before Friday.
Fastlane Daily with Derek D. Always fresh every day.
And now it's time for
today's headlines.
Thanks, Kathleen. It seems like the past decade has been full of new automotive model terms that almost seem too funny or too good to be true. For example, four-door coupes such as the CLS, A5 Sportback, and Passat CC. How about the super exotics like the Koenigsegg CCX or Pagani Zonda? Now how about this? The super hot hatch. It's kind of weird, right? Well, Ferrari and Fiat have done just that with the Fiat 500. Their performance division Abarth have partnered to make a special edition Fiat 500 for the Frankfurt Auto Show. It's the 695 Tributo, trimmed with Ferrari Scuderia red on the exterior and performance upgrades that bring total horsepower to 180, as well as a set of Brembo brakes and custom 17-inch rims. This is probably the only example of what we could classify as a super hot hatch. Except for maybe the W12 VW GTI concept. That thing was a monster. Abarth has also worked to bring an F1 style 6-speed transmission with a finely tuned suspension to the 500. So what do you guys think? Is the super hot hatch a market other manufacturers should play with? Got any other ideas on what new models are going to come? Uber wagon whips? I don't know. Throw your ideas in the comments below. Let us know. And it looks like tuning shop Carlson has been eyeing up the E63 AMG and finally said, sure, I'd crack that. Because they did. They've successfully tuned the Mercedes E63 AMG to 585 horsepower from the already crazy 525. Dubbed the E-CK63 RS, Carlson has improved performance by modifying engine management and exhaust systems. The E-CK63 RS also comes with a new aerodynamic kit, front and rear skirts, and 5-spoke 20-inch Revo rims. Along with these cosmetic and performance tweaks, the interior has been given new leather slathering, along with ultra suede and gopher testicle skinned steering wheel. No details on pricing yet, but I'm sure it'll be all worth the gopher inside. Wow, that must be some expensive stuff. All right. So a lot of people make fun of riced out cars, and rightfully so. Just look at this picture of this riced out Civic. Yes, that's a license plate that's crooked on purpose. Just terrible. But what happens when those riced out cars are extremely expensive exotics? Yes, folks, they're out there too. And that's why there is a website devoted to them. It's called, simply enough, ricedexotics.com. Like this Carrera GT, for example, with a glitter paint job. What better way to say I'm a rich douchebag? Oh, and can't forget how much I love Burberry. So why don't I just cover my Maserati Quattroporte with it? And finally, when I go on vacation, I always choose to use my Murcielago equipped with cargo rack. Actually, that's kind of cool. Wait, no, what am I saying? That is not cool. If you have enough money for a $300,000 some odd Murcielago, buy a friggin' Suburban, okay? Jeez. If you want more of this automotive hell, head over to ricedexotics.com. It's worth the laugh. Let's move on. Well, I think we've all heard of people being chased by the cops and they throw a small bag of marijuana or other drugs out of the window so they don't get caught with it. Usually every time they still get caught. Well, what about ditching an entire keg of beer while being chased? Yes, that's what I said. A keg of beer. A huge keg of beer. Early Monday morning in Castle, Wisconsin, 4 guys fleeing from the cops in a car decided it would be a smart idea to throw the keg from the moving car. I guess they figured, hey, maybe the cops won't notice this giant silver barrel-looking thing getting thrown from the very car that they are chasing. Only one of the 4 dudes in the car was 21, and he happened to be the guy who threw the keg. Maybe he was like, don't worry guys, I'm 21. I'm allowed to do this. Wow, could people be any dumber? The driver and the genius who threw the keg are still in jail though, and the other 2, they got underage drinking tickets. Note to self, don't drive 120 miles per hour fleeing the cops, then decide it's a good idea to throw a keg from the car. Jeez, idiots. Next up, it's our weekly installment of Motorsports News, Shakedown with Leo Parente. That's all after this. Stick around. bagel and cream cheese to be good, it needs to be fresh. For automotive news to be good, it needs to be fast, fresh every day. Just like Fastlane Daily. Always fresh, every day. Fastlane Daily.
US racing on Labor Day weekend is basically a NASCAR show. And since Derek went all Ricky Bobby on us with Monday's episode, no reason for me to cover the Atlanta NASCAR race. P.S. Casey Kane won. Set his car up for short run sprints, which is how the race ended. By the way, I watched. Tried to enjoy. The other weekend racing was stuff we've covered before. I mean, how many times do you need to hear me say, Mercedes wins in DTM? They did. Loeb wins in WRC. He did and then didn't. Hervinen won after the Citroën Tech disqualification. Rossi wins in MotoGP. I've said that before. So what to show you today? How about a little race car engineering 101? Some commenters write that they're just not into race cars. What? That's my Napoleon Dynamite. Others say they can't follow my tech speak. The rest you get confused by my voice, clothing, or the fact that I'm not Derek D. Hey, I can't help the last group, but here's a jump start to understand why race cars can be as cool as the latest Veyron. To start, there are production-based race cars like GT2 Le Mans cars, Aussie V8s, Coney Challenge, where the street car is the foundation for the build, and then there are purpose-built race cars like F1, the Audi R15, or this Mazda Grand Am GT, because it's really just a tube-frame chassis covered in RX-8 bodywork, or this custom-built rear-wheel drive Scion drift car, or Dakar off-roaders, or NASCAR. Next, think open-wheel cars or fenders. From the Braun to GP2, IRL, Indy Lights, Atlantic, F3, Formula Ford, etc., etc. To this Formula Nippon, 190 mile an hour, 600 horsepower, 10,300 RPM Honda or Toyota V8, really cool front wings, and a 400 RPM 20-second overtake system where the roll bar lights up when you hit the button. And let's throw in fuel dragsters here too. Then race cars with fenders, sedans like DTM and WTCC, sports cars like Japan Super GT, including this wild, mid-engine I think, Toyota Corolla, and prototypes like this super slick Le Mans Series V12 Aston Martin LMP. Race car technology comes down to 6 areas: engines, powertrain, normally aspirated or forced induction, gas, diesel, or race fuel, production-based gearboxes, or sequential shift. Aerodynamics, car shape plus wings, spoilers, splitters, tunnels, diffusers, all to manage the air in, around, and under, to control drag and downforce. Weight, lighter is always better, but also weight distribution for handling. Suspension, ride control and weight shift management via geometry, shocks, springs, and sometimes third springs, kind of a second suspension to allow the car to be soft at low speed and then stiff at high speed when the third spring is pushed on by the downforce load. Tires, street spec or pure race, but all literally a black art of compounds and design. And electronics, to manage everything as much as the rules allow, like the engine, gearbox, differential, traction, braking, and data, because that's how you learn to go faster. These 6 areas define race cars, be they a spec class like the new Super League Series, or an open competition like drifting, where you can run different cars. And it's the same 6 disciplines for racing bikes too. In the old days, the biggest engine was the way to win. Enzo Ferrari had that mindset. Porsche used that thinking to give the world the 5-liter 917 when Le Mans only wanted 3-liter cars. But today, sadly, the big engine edge is mostly gone. Now you gotta make those 6 areas work, or find a big advantage in at least one of them. I like 3 websites, racecar-engineering.com, gurneyflap.com, and mulzancorner.com to check out technology and the race cars. Like this 1980s Alfa Romeo GTP I found on Gurney Flap that I never knew existed. In the future, if you like, we can look at various cars or categories up close. Just tell me what you think, as if I needed to ask.
Thanks, Leo. You need to come up with something like 6 ways to buy a good suit. I'd watch that. All right, well, that about does it for Fastlane Daily today. I'm Derek D, and make sure you tune in tomorrow because we got some footage from IMPA. You're not going to want to miss it, all right? Talk to you guys later. Keep on rocking.